Good afternoon and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As usual, I'm your host Mike. Hello. Hello and welcome. How's everybody doing? I'm doing lovely. Myself? Just doing a little, just grabbing some side quest action here real quick. While we clean up for our push into the monolith as we finish off this character. Well, the leveling of this character. And yeah, if this is your first time here on the stream, I'm Mike. I'm one of the senior developers for Last Epoch. And I'm here to answer your questions while I play some Last Epoch. We also do stream for charity, so it's all above my head. Boom! That's our charity for the week, month, whatever time frame it ends up being. Lovely people. Yeah, if you have a question, please put at Last Epoch Game into chat, so I know to answer the question. Here, holy fudge biscuits! What's happened to your hair? Nothing. I don't know. I cut it like about 2-3 weeks ago or something. My hairline like receded to this when I was like 18 and just stopped. And it's like, you can look at pictures of me in like late high school and I had the identical hairline that I have now. It's crazy. I don't know what happened, but it was just like, boom, that's your hairline for the rest of your life. Deal with it. I'm like, yeah, all right, sounds good. All right, just cruising through here. Finishing off this side quest real quick. Also get temporal sanctum access if we don't have that already. Hello, my good sir. Is it by design that the mono version of the misshapen remains boss has a million bajillion HP? I probably. I don't think there's any mistakes in the HP pools of any bosses right now. It does scale with corruption though. So if you're pushing high corruption, like a really high, like a boss that has really high HP to begin with, corruption can affect its HP pretty significantly. So especially bosses like that, it's really handy to have culling on your build. I'm sure it used to be longer last time I watched. It was a little bit longer, yeah. Oh. All right. Have you beaten Aberoth? Might have butchered his name. I think you're very close. I don't know. It changed so many times mid-development that like there's like points in the code that there's like comments in the code. The comments are like it's code that you can see when you're writing the code, but it doesn't actually get ever used by the game. And so like there's comments with the name that's wrong, and there's like it went through like 5 different name versions. After it was already implemented in the back end. But yes, I have beat it with like non-cheated characters, but characters that were on like the dev servers. So I haven't ever actually beaten Aberoth on like the live public servers. Mostly just because I always go back to like starting the new cycle, and I basically only play on the live public servers on stream. So like there's you see basically all of my gameplay on the official like live servers. What am I doing? Do I have any keys for this? No. Can't wait for the proper key. Can't wait for the proper key stuff. Oh my goodness. Okay. Did we finish? How did we do? A little bit short. Sapphire tablet. Where do we hand that in? Let's go hand that in. Hi Mike, day 29 of subathon. It's never gonna end. I noticed you were going, and I think you may, and you know, you are clearly much more experienced in this than I am, Aaron, but like, I think you might have set the prices a little cheap, or the time a little high. Like, still going this hard, unless this is what you wanted. In which case, that is a big commitment, and I am impressed. Let's go this way. The right click on that one didn't work. I wonder, that one's different. Well, they are different, I know that. Yeah, these waypoints here are the only ones that use all these ones in the monolith are the only ones that use a special like gate system, because they're all, this is the only time that there's multiple waypoints in the same scene. So like this monolith of fate, unknown moment of time, this is like a scene in the game's back end, and this is the only one where there's multiple waypoints in one of them. So those waypoints are unique. In the UI, there's some extra stuff there for them. Oh yeah, we've got this too. We were just cranking the top ones. Yeah. Ah, leech. Sweet, sweet leech. Sweet, sweet leech. All right. Will you create a function? Oh, this looks like a two-parter. I love two-parters. Usually I have to like pick out part of it to answer because I can't answer all of it. I'll do my best. Just to make sure we're comfortable and not just getting nuked here before I go too hard into this. Okay. Will you create a function that will make Rune of Ascendance faster to use if you have many items you want to make legendaries, sometimes or unique? Sometimes I've got 200 Rune of Ascendance I want to use that require a lot of monotonous clicking at the moment. Yeah, that's a good point. We don't have anything planned to change that at the moment, but I mean, this is the perfect thing that could go in a suggestions post on the forums, something like that. Because yeah, that is that's I would call a non-standard use case, but something that I bet a lot of experienced players here are like, what are you talking about non-standard? I do that happens to me all the time, you know. So it's probably just something that we didn't quite think of at first, but I can see it being frustrating, especially if you're doing a ton of them all at once. Similar to the gambling, that's one we've had a few debates about internally, the timing of the gambling. I've seen that suggestion come up a few times. All right, and will you make a way to track prophecies so that, as an example, if I hover the mouse over a monolith dungeon arena monolith dungeon arena, I will see the prophecies that apply here. It would also be useful to be able to sort the prophecies I have, granting a more quick and effective overview of them all. I mean, yeah, these are all really good ideas. I don't have any details on what our plans are for anything in this category coming up. But you know, this is the sort of thing that make a great feedback post or great suggestions post on our forums, where it'll like get put in the pipeline to maybe have a chance of getting put in the game. Oh my goodness. We need a little more single target deeps. We gotta figure out a way to up that a bit here, I think. You know what it is? It's just our weapons garbage. Our weapons trash. That's all it is. I forgot we had a bad weapon. We should probably set up a loot filter specifically hunting for a weapon. I do love the bone curse and then Mark for Death happening on everything in the repeat casts. It flows. It's nice. All right. Next question. Hello, Mike. Hi. Staying up late to ask a bunch of technical questions. Hope you have a nice stream. Thank you. I think I will. It's been. I'll be honest. It was a tough week. It was a long week. But you know what? We're through the other side. We're playing video games. Life is good right now. Oh, Temple Sanctity. Matt, if you're watching, I'll save it for us to do later. All right. Could it be possible to move minions by pressing and holding the A button? Yes. Yeah, it is. That's what it is. Yeah. Oh, it might not work for holding it down. I think that might be the rest of the question. I'll read it properly here in a second. Also, I should probably fill up the extra idle slots I just unlocked. Do we have extra passives? No, that was just the one. By pressing and holding the A button. Currently, I have to click it repeatedly. Okay, yeah, that's the problem. And it would sometimes be easier to just be able to keep holding the button. Yeah, that is technically feasible to do. So yeah, just toss it in a suggestions thread and we'll see if we can get to it type thing. But that is possible. Nice. Alright. I love this portal. It's one of my favorite portals. Yeah. One LP drowsing. Won't kick it out of bed. Alright. Are you looking at Steam Deck compatibility campaign? And early monos go well, but higher corruption and bigger maps freeze the freeze of completely shut down the game. Yeah, I mean, so the making sure that Steam Deck plays nicely for the entirety of the game is why it is why we pushed back the check mark for Steam Deck. So yeah, we're still working on Steam Deck improvements specifically for high volume of enemies. Oh, finally slowed Abby on my lich last night, so hype, celebrate. Way to go, congrats. Are you doing melee? Are you doing something similar to me? Alright. Phoenix, I see a ton of stuff here that's a ton of suggestions. Every single one of them, I'm going to tell you to go put in the suggestions forums on our website or on the on our Discord, but specifically the places we've put for suggestions. So if you've got more suggestions, feel free to put them here and I'll read them out. But I'm not going to do anything with them unless you put them in the suggestions forums, where they'll get put in our proper suggestions places, and we'll treat them like suggestions that you want to actually have us put in the game. Just so you know, I won't say that every single one of them now. So see, you got a bunch more queued up here. I'll tell you what I think of them. Alright, small improvement suggestion to the stash tab. Make it possible to drag and drop the stashes from the quick view. Yeah, the option was either have them be drag and droppable or have them be drag scrollable. And we went with drag scrollable because originally the plan was to make them drag and droppable. But there was some problems that they didn't play nice. And we were in a bit of a hurry to get that system out at the time. Might be time to go back and look at things like that though, so... Maybe I will say it every time. Drop it in the suggestions forums. Alright. Also happy to see you. Thank you. Can you add a mobile app for the Bazaar for Aaron to shop on the go? Now, this is actually something that we talked about when we initially set up the Bazaar. We were like, because originally we weren't going to have any sort of trading system at all, and we're like, okay, when we decided, like, okay, we're going to do it, we're going to have a trading system, we figured out a way to like make this functional. What sorts of things do we want to make sure are like from a high level perspective on with it? One of the things we decided was that we weren't going to do is have an app that you could, or any way to connect to the Bazaar outside of the game itself. That was one of the things we had done intentionally. So we don't currently have any plans to add a Bazaar app. It doesn't mean it can't ever happen, but it is missing by design. We're still in the pick up every exalted we find phase. This is nutty. Oh my goodness. Oh. This is one of those moments where you're like, how am I surviving this? Not complaining, just kind of curious. Reperform sure helps a lot, just as a safety blanket, but still. Whew. All right. Will all new cycles always bring new gear to the game? Or do you think some cycles might be without new gear and focus on some other new content? Gear's one of those things that's like, oh, I got talking and I lost it. Ah, well. Gear's one of those things that's like really easy to add, to sprinkle in a few new ones of. So it's something that something that like is very high in like how does this? The rate of return for excitement about the game and fun new things that can happen from adding content, like the rate of return on what you get out of how much you put in for adding gear is quite high. So like tossing in a new, like for example, we can add in a new ring, a new like base item for a ring, just a new like say a new base item that said like, I don't know, increased attack speed as an implicit on a base ring. That ring takes the time it takes to make the 2D art, which on a ring is not super long compared to a lot of other things, and like 1 minute to implement, maybe. Not even, probably even 30 seconds, and like 10 minutes of paperwork. Like the hard part is balancing it over more than anything. But just like getting it in is really low barrier. So slipping in a few little things here and there, if we don't have like a big focus on equipment, just like oh well, we'll toss in a couple things and add a couple things, and especially things that don't have 3D, like the slots that don't have specific 3D requirements. Well, not helmet, but you know, there's a lot less overhead there. So while I can't say like 100% for sure every patch forever will always have new gear, we like to add as much new stuff as possible. People like having new gear, and it's pretty easy for us to add in certain situations. There's other situations where it takes a long time, like a unique weapon that needs a 3D model and like VFX that goes with it, and then creates a new ability at the same time, and you know, like, that's dramatically higher scope. So there's a big spectrum on how high and low scope the gear is to add, but getting any in a patch where this is a new cycle, extremely high chance every single time. But oh, should have killed just a couple more. Oh, I could have lucked even. Thank you very much. We have a sub. Andres Ausadopt? I feel like this is one of those things where Andre Sausadopt? I feel like there's some capitals. It all comes through in lowercase, and there's times where I'm like, there's definitely words in here, I'm just like not seeing them. I don't know why, but I will see it when I get to there in chat, and I will say it again. I'll say it properly. I have faith. It's okay if you don't. All right, maybe a fun idea for set items. We already have our decision for set items made, so I'll read this out, but we've already got our plan. Are you still looking at how to make set items more viable for any game? We're not looking, we found it, and or increasing the amount of set items in the game. Yes. Should have read the whole question first. Maybe a fun idea for set items, make set rewards, give access to a certain skill from one of the other 3 specializations so that you don't have to spend passive points to get it. Might open up some creative, interesting builds. the skills that are like that's possible. The skills that are below the lock line are available for situations like that. Having abilities that you can specialize in but can lose access to by unequipping an item is doable, but we need to be cautious on where we use it, because it is it is a potentially frustrating link that you create with your gear, where you're like, okay, well, I got this sweet new helmet, but it doesn't have the access to the ability I need, and so like my whole build falls apart. So this suddenly you get these items that are really build defining, and you can't put crazy build defining items too deep in the leveling process, because people want to level as that build a lot of the time. So it's just some stuff to be careful about there. All right, after that, Co Phoenix, getting your money's worth here. These are good questions, though. Happy to answer them. I love having questions to answer on stream. It's my favorite thing. All right. After the changes to the content, you will bring in cycle 1.2 and 1.3. Will you be releasing a more up-to-date roadmap in the whole 2025 cycles? I don't know what the plan is for the roadmap. The roadmap that's currently available is you basically it's pretty out of date at this point in general. So we'll be. I hope our plan was to update the roadmap every 2 cycles. So our plan was always to update the roadmap after 1.2 comes out anyways. So we didn't really plan to be going so far off script 1 cycle out. Yeah. We don't really need much vitality and necrotic resistance, actually. Isn't nice there? I mean, I don't know why I didn't equip it. Vitality doesn't exactly hurt. Visitors is kept. Increases dots. Yeah, I think our... we don't actually have that much dot damage. More vitality. Are you working on bringing raids or other group-focused contents to Last Epoch, if that's even the direction you want to go towards? We aren't really planning on any content where you are required to play in a party. I think that if we were like, so we do really like the idea of large-scale fights where there's like a lot going on, and it's like mechanics. We really like the idea of having mechanics that scale with the number of players in there. That's really appealing, and I think that having a raid fight is kind of the way to do it. But having like NPC that comes with you instead if you're on your own, which is a tricky thing to balance. It's not something we're currently like actively pursuing or planning. But if we were going to make higher scale content like that, scale is in the sense of size, not in the sense of danger, damage, power, that sort of stuff. Like, yeah, I think it's possible, but not currently high on the list. All right, we're gonna bring up the build that we're following, because I don't know all of those nodes off the top of my head. Oh, that's wonderful. Forgot about that node. 5, 2, 3. Harvest. 3, 1. Going over here to 1. Okay, gotta go here first. Cool. Not using Death Seal enough, am I? This is also what happens when I don't play enough in between. Is I get sloppy with my mechanics on the build I'm playing. Bone Curse on arrival. Wow, should have taken that one a long time ago. That's all right. All right. There are prophecies to help acquire legendary items with 1 LP. Unique items with 1 LP, just to clarify that. Do you think you will ever create a possibility to be sure to get either LP 2, 3, or even 4 on unique items through any mechanism in the game? It's possible. It would probably have to be a specific unique item is the problem, because once you get above 1, or be like so heavily weighted, like it would have to, you'd still have to have the same relative odds of getting a 2 LP item of a higher rarity base type, because some of the higher rarity base types, the LP chance is so much lower that it would create a big skew in the power difference of the drops that could happen. So like the difficulty to get the drop to happen would either have to be high enough that a 2 LP like Hammer of Laurent dropping with it would be so disappointing that it would be like such a waste of time, or the chance of or the difficulty to make the drop happen would have to be low enough that the chance to get a 2 LP like very high tier item would have to be very, 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 very low, or it would have to have a specific item that it dropped at that LP, and the difficulty would just have to reflect whatever that item was. Will there be more, less, or the same amount of RNG in crafting in the future? Will we get more runes and glyphs to play with? Maybe a way to gain reset fortune potential? No. Can you lift? Just note that we have no plans to have any way to put fortune potential increased in any way on an item, to put it back onto an item, to add more to it. We don't have plans for that. The only thing currently now is in the Nemesis system, but that does it before you get the item. Okay, can you lift the curtains a bit about the future of your vision for crafting? I think that crafting is like more runes, more glyphs. Yes. New like dungeon rewards that add in more ways to craft things. Yes. New side mechanics like Nemesis that change ways to craft things. Yes. And the Exiled Mages too, same thing. There's new crafting stuff that comes with those too. Like the crafting system is, there's a lot of room for interesting stuff we can put into the crafting system. At the same time, there's a lot of things that you would think would go really well in there, but would cause dramatic problems. So we've had to steer clear of them. So we are always on the lookout for new runes and glyphs we can add to the game. Like every time we're in like a design meeting and someone's like, we added as a rune or a glyph, I'm like, immediately I just start shouting, yes, do it. How can we make this happen? Because new runes and glyphs, I think, are one of the most exciting things we can add to the game right now, personally, for me. And I know I'm not everybody.
Brings you.
But yeah, there's a lot of really, I think, a lot of room for more crafting stuff to be added eventually. I think the differences available in like where RNG fits into that formula is more in where it fits in the process, like whether it's front loaded or back loaded sometimes. Because the primary, like, there's huge parts of the primary set of the crafting where there's like basically no RNG, and then we keep adding in more interesting and cool things to do, and a lot of those come with RNG attached to them. So if you're looking for less RNG but asking for more glyphs and runes, might not have the final intent there lining up. All right. That's it. Cutting pricing in half. Did I say it wrong? Aaron, I don't apologize, and hope you are streaming for another month. In a good way. But my wife got quite the kick out of your makeover from your daughters there. Please don't forget to put at Last Epoch game if you'd like me to answer the question. Alright, Mike, new question over here. Can you have Judgment Aura and Void Cleave Aura, Ravaging Aura active at the same time? Is there... are either of those class locked? Just check. Judgment is class locked. Void Cleave's not though, is it? No, Void Cleave's a base skill. I'm like, I can't find it. It's a base skill. Yes, that's totally fine. Yeah, they don't care about each other. You just have to have both skills specialized. I love the Bone Curse on Transplant. My goodness. My new best friend.
Yes.
Now we're cooking with gas. Ooh, what do we got here? Mercurial? Love that word. I don't know what it is about it. Alright, more questions. Here's a big one. Referencing a previous question, I don't know which one. It's a great question. Considering updates to game content, I've tried Villatria's set on 150 corruption. I can delete Lagon, but its Harbingers is just unbearable. When you try to build around 3 set items, it takes 4 slots, crown, 2-handed weapon plus belt. Leaves you with a lot of room for building survivability, creating something dates to set item updates, probably updates. Yeah, it looks like updates. Like hand just one shifted over across. To set items would definitely spice it up. Yeah, so yeah, we know set items are not in a great place right now. About year and a half ago, we figured out what we wanted to do with set items. We're like, okay, this is what we want to do with set items. It's a little bit of a bigger thing to do. You know, it's not a gigantic thing, but like it's on the bigger side. It's not going to happen overnight. So we need to like find a place that we have room to like squeak it in. And so we've been trying to find a patch that it'll fit in nicely for a while now. And it's gonna be quite good. But yes, one of the things we do recognize about, and since we figured out what we were going to do to them, we're like, okay, we're gonna stop making new ones until we've got this system implemented, because it's just gonna add a ton of extra work. Because if we make a bunch of new ones with the current system and then have to change them all over to the new system, it's just so much extra. So once we've got the new system in, we're going to start adding in more set items back in. We've got some ideas waiting in the wings, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, one of the things that is really tricky about set items and why you do see our like 4 item slots is kind of the max any of our sets take up, is because one of the big downsides to set items is that they can lock down huge portions of your gear on your character, especially when you don't have like a shoulder slot and a wrist slot and a leg slot, you know. And there's like we don't have a ton of, like, we've got about average for most ARPGs, I think, but if you look at lots of like MMORPGs and things like that, it starts to get a lot bigger. No cape slot. What else does WoW or D3 have or D4 have, or I don't know, all those, you know. So like we're definitely looking at set items holistically in the sense of how they fit into the rest of the game as well. We also created set items before exalted items existed, before legendary items existed, before experimental items existed. So like the landscape of items and how they work in the game has changed a lot as well. A lot more competition for slots. Is it possible to make LMB to use selected skill? It is. If you click on this right here, you click on move or attack, and then you can click on any one of the slots in your bar. So I can say like I'll put it onto W, and now you can see it's move if I'm not over something, or if I hover over an enemy or hold shift and do it, it does that. So this is me holding shift. But I like just walk, so walk or walk. The other option is barrels are indestructible. So you can, if you're like, I really need some way to be able to destroy destructibles because I'm playing a pure minion build or something. That's what this is for. Any timeline on cycle 2 news / reveal? The next cycle will come Q1. Vapor Vader, welcome, and your cohort that has come with you, please stay a while and have some fun. All right, yeah, anytime on a cycle, the next cycle, it's going to be Q1 2025. Lots of cool stuff. I don't have any specific big things. I got a little teaser to show you later here. We're back into, Mike's got some art teasers for the next content on stream. I think that's going to be a more regular thing now again. Oh, I ever stopped this. Let's go. We need a weapon. If anyone sees me drop a really sweet weapon and I miss it, let me know. All right, let's have a little. Snack. Whatever. Alright, encumbrance is a great balancing mechanic within games. Keys and affixes use this mechanic well by occupying the inventory. Since keys will be added to a keyring and affixes might be auto picked up in the respective bag. That has never been said by any of us, for the record. Just to be clear. People ask for it a lot. No one's ever suggested that's going to actually happen. Will there be any means to make use of encumbrance in the future? Yes. We kind of just do it with all items in general, really, because if you portal out, you can't come back. So there's kind of that sense that to a degree, anyways. Reaper, there we go. If I use Reaper form for the Reap dash that it has, I don't think it puts Transplant on cooldown like it should. It's okay, it's not a big deal. Yeah, I think mostly just like the way gear takes up space, kind of it at this point. I think we are trying to smooth out a little bit of the time spent in your inventory. I think just in general, like inventory management's a funny thing. It's, I think, an important part of the, like, I'm like taking the role of this character into this game, and I'm like playing as this character and like interacting with this world and doing the things that are real in that world. It kind of grounds the experience a little bit, right? But at the same time, spending too much time in your inventory is tedious and boring. Not to put too fine a point on it. So we kind of need ways to have the experience and the mechanics still exist without going too far, without getting too out of hand. And so figuring out where that line is and, you know, specifically how we handle that is tricky. But I think we're homing in on a sweet spot. This guy is chunky. Has your team snuck in character models / traits after team members? If yes, which ones? If no, would you consider it? It would be nice to see the quest giver from Mike the Barbarian. Well, funny you should say that. And the class you picked. Not the current version of the Prime list, but the one before. So like, oh, it's in the wash. Okay, yeah, 2 Prime lists ago, like, or 1 Prime list ago, the model was actually created from a picture of my face. They took a screenshot from, I think, our Kickstarter video, and modeled the Prime list face after that. So for a little while, yes, my face was the Prime list. We have since remodeled it from scratch without doing that. But for a little while there, I was the Primalist. And I'd be very down to do it again. My face is also in the game another time right now as well. Right there. That little sticker on the backpack. That's my face in a a children's. That's not the one I had. This one. Yeah. In a children's bee costume, Halloween bee costume that was so small, it was like a little like tutu fairy costume thing with like a wand and a tiara and everything, and like it was so small that it fit around my neck as like a frilly collar. Yeah. All right. Will the next cycle bring a new pinnacle boss or something close to one? There's definitely new difficult stuff to do. But pinnacle boss in the sense of a static high difficulty boss fight situation like Abroth specifically, not really. So kinda. That's not even accurate. I changed my answer to wait and see. Sorry, I don't have any details on it yet specifically. There's new hard stuff to do. There's new difficult content that you're gonna have a tough time beating, and it's gonna be awesome. All right, can you share how the game calculates increased and more damages? Super cool if you can do it in Paint. I'd be happy to. I'll do it before I start this boss fight so I can talk about something though while I'm in the boss fight. Okay. I don't use Paint. I use Snipping Tool. Yeah. All right. So you've got your you've got your base damage. Your base damage is 10. And then you've got a big batch of further away from that. You've got a big batch of all of your increased damages. So this is increase. All right. So you got increased. So you've got like 10%, and you got 100%, and you got like 5,000%. And so what it does is it adds all of these up, and you get your 5110%. And then you have a bunch of individual little, all of them more. So all of these are more. And so it multiplies your base damage, then it applies your increased modifier, and then it applies all of the more modifiers. So all of your increased modifiers get added together and applied all simultaneously together, and then all of the mores get multiplied on afterwards. Now, it doesn't matter the order that any of these multiplications happen. So you could do this one first, and then all these, and then this one, and this one, and this one. It doesn't matter the order they go in because they're all multiplied anyways. It does do increase and then all the mores one at a time. So this is not just increased, but it's also reduced. Reduced, and this is also less as well. So less is the negative of more, and reduced is the negative of increased. Any base damage additions come on here. So if you've got like a sword with like plus 50 attack or something like that, or you've got base 50 and it's plus 10, it doesn't really matter. But so you've got these. Actually, this does matter. So every ability has an added damage effectiveness. So say the ability has this is wrong, but just for sake of our, let's just say this is what it is. But this is not these number combinations would never actually be used. But say the item has 50 base damage. This is base. Base. I'm really bad at writing like this. Added. But this skill, let's say, has a base damage, an added damage effectiveness of 2 times. So what it would actually do is this would become 20. Is how that would work. So all added damage gets applied at the added damage effectiveness rate. And every ability has this. Every damage source has this. So sometimes abilities can have multiple damage sources on them. So for example, like Volcanic Orb, you can put like 8 damage sources on Volcanic Orb, because it can have the dot from the orb itself, the dot from all the shrapnel, or the hits from all the shrapnel, sorry. It can drop the glyphs on the ground that have dots in them. And there's something else it can do too. But yeah, so there's each of those have their own base damage and base added damage effectiveness. And then the increase / reduce gets applied, and then all the less and mores get applied. And so what it looks like is you've got base plus added, which is times effectiveness, times 1. Almost drew the F because it's a float in the back end. That 1 plus sum of ink plus reduced. This is just so, this has gone off the rails. Times 1 plus 1 plus more times 1. I don't know why I want to draw that cross on the 1. 1 plus more dot. There it is at the bottom. I hope that helps. Oh my god, my face is over it. No! There you go, there's the whole thing. And I'm back. Hopefully that explained it. All right, moving on. Oh, you know what? Yeah, it's the boss first. What's our... Oh my gosh, we're going into a boss fight. Like, only barely underleveled. With good resistances. What is going on here? We've got some sort of... We've crossed over into the Twilight Zone. This doesn't make any sense. I was going to get a question before I started this.
The dawn of the black sun. My shadow will cover this world once more.
That hurts. That boy knows how to bring the pain. Yep. Can I get a question in? Also a question about fire aura. Oh, here's more question earlier. The last few weeks you shared some plans on improving controller targeting with abilities. Any words? Any other new controller developments you can share? Nothing really right now. We're still looking at the targeting improvements. That's the big thing, really. It's just such an issue right now with the system the way it currently is. Being able to like stutter step and properly orb walk and is such a huge deal. That we're really trying, and that's a surprisingly huge thing, because we have to get all of the, like, every single ability needs to have a new movement style preference that goes with it.
This hate, this despair, oblivion burns within me.
So it's a quite a lot of overhead. So this process is going to take a little bit to get in. There's some there's some sorry, I'm trying not to die here. There's a very good chance I always seem to die to this fight. Oh, that was me popping out a form with no new form to go back into.
This hate, this despair, oblivion burns within me. This world urges. Do you deny it?
Oh gosh, get in the rhythm. Okay, we can do this. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do it. God.
This hate, this despair, oblivion burns within me.
Do we not have culling yet? I was just talking about this. Okay. We got it. We got there. I really wish we'd, like, the death animation's so cool and there's so much stuff happening there when it's going on. Gotta find a better way for that. Increase void damage, increase leech rate. That's probably what we want. Right. Ooh, a 1 LP Dark Shroud of Cinders. We'll take it. Alright, I also got a question about Fire Aura. What was the reason behind the change of Fire Aura, that its chances have been limited to 1 per second instead of unlimited like it was in the past? You could easily go 9-11 in the past, but I know it's 3 and done. 9-11, sorry. At this state, this part of the tree is absolutely unusable. Do you think about reverting it and how it worked previously? It's unlikely for us to make such a large version like that. If you think we should, drop in the suggestions, but I'd be shocked if we would. Suggestions. Can you take suggestions live? I mean, like, I could write them down, but I feel like it's kind of just a waste of time for me to be sitting here just typing while you guys talk at me, instead of just doing the exact same thing into a thread we already have set up for suggestions, right? Like, I I don't think it's I think the stream would be kind of boring if it was just a static screen and me typing notes out from what you guys were saying. And then I'm just like I just go and paste that in the suggestions thread right after stream. Like, can we cut out the middleman and you guys just put it there directly? Right? Huh? Then you don't have to wait for the specific time to post it. If the thought is like I think what the thought is that if you're giving it to a person directly, that's more likely to happen. I think that's putting a lot of faith in how much power I have to push things through at my own whim, and that I like all of the ideas too. But yeah, it's one of those things that's just like I don't. Oh my gosh, we're gonna die. Yep. Well, I died. So you know what that means. Hey, pretty pictures. What's that? Who knows what that could be? Could be anything. All right, on to another question while that's up. When you get to level 70, 75, seems you hit a wall. Is that by design? No, I think that's the point where like end game kind of kicks in. And so you're kind of expected to be refining your build at that point. And like builds that do kind of come through, like there's always gonna be a spectrum in build power, right? And I think builds that might be a little bit on the lower end, like the latter half of the power spectrum, is probably going to start to struggle earlier and earlier in that leveling process. So like, like mid power builds are going to start to struggle probably, or slow down a little bit in the 70, 75 range probably. So yeah, I don't think it's specifically by design at that level, but I mean, I think it is by design that at some point, basically every build slows down. Thanks for reading all my suggestions, Mike, and saying what you think. I will make sure to write them all in the appropriate form. I appreciate you. Thank you. I put some of my thoughts for the Traveler class on the suggestions in Discord. Can I expect to see it at 1.4? No. It's possible that it could happen, but I wouldn't expect it. There won't be like seeing a new class at 1.4 would be shocking. All right, as every a new cycle brings new items, can we please have more than 200 stash tabs, please? Extremely unlikely, probably not. We are taking stuff out of your stash tab though, so you'll have more room. Hi, sir. Judd said on Reddit, cycle terminology moving forward is a whole number. I did see that we were switching that. Yes. Cycle 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. is now update 1.2. Now cycle 3, new roadmap coming soon. I don't actually know which ones they line up with because I think it'll be in the new marketing material. We'll have the new terminology. I think that's the plan. So wait for that new roadmap. I haven't seen one being worked on yet. The original plan was to release a new roadmap after 1.2, but the timelines on everything changed, so I don't know when it's going to happen. I hope we do it before 1.2 releases. We'll see though. Look at that. I remembered to take it off the screen before I started playing again. I am learning and improving. I know it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it feels like a big deal to me. When do we get a Voidcaster? Asking for a friend. Well, I hope I'm your friend. So I'd love to know too. I think it is a pretty clear missing archetype in the game. I don't think there's a rush to slap some new classes in the game right now. So, probably not super quick. Maybe not ever. I hope we get something like that. I think that would be a reasonable archetype to explore. There's a few like, what's the first class gonna be? What's the first new class gonna be? Who knows? I actually do know what the first new class is gonna be, but there's a few front runners in the community's guesses as what's going to be. I think Voidcaster is probably a front runner as to a community guess. I know Barbarian's high on community guess list as well. We haven't given any information on what the first one will be. I've seen a lot of suggestions, yeah, like, because there was a lot of suggestions that there was going to be a Voidcaster in Warlock. That was a big, a lot of people thought that was what was coming. All right, if it's possible to track specific player stats like most deaths / most Emperor of Corpses kills / most gold gained in Bazaar. If yes, it would be great to have season MVPs at the end of the cycle. I'll try to remember to put it in Discord suggestions tab if yes. There are certain, some of those things we can track, some of those things we can't track, I think. I'm not 100% sure on, I think it's the most number of kills of specific bosses. I don't think we can track that right now. I know we are expanding the metrics that we can track. So even if we can't track it, it's still a good thing to put in a suggestion because we might be able to start tracking it. But yeah, I'd love to have stuff like that. Like, I think like we're talking. Let's talk pie in the sky. Mike's wishes. I'd love to see at the end of a cycle having like, what are they called in high school superlatives? That's what they're called. I mean, just specifically high school. I've just never seen them anywhere else. Class superlatives. We didn't really even have them. I don't think. I don't remember. But you see him. You see him in movies. It's really the only. Wee boy. There we go. Don't die. You know, things like that. I think would be really cool at like the end of a cycle. If there's like stats that like stick out, be like, here's this cool thing this person achieved. Like most deaths in the Midnight Strand. Like who died the most in that zone. Weirdly specific things like that you'd like every once in a while see someone's random name pop up, and I think that would be kind of cool to see. We don't have specifics right now on. I don't have specifics on hand of what we can and can't actually do for that. But I would love to. I think it sounds super cool. That guy always gets me. Always gets me. I'm like, I can take him. I'm in lich form. Nope. Alright, cool build. Does it play well on controller? It does. It does. We can try it. Can we just try it? Can we just pick up my controller and play? Is that gonna work? Is it just gonna work? Come on. This is my controller's fault. Come on, controller. Okay, it's not working. I was mucking about with it yesterday, and I kind of ripped everything out. I am struggling in this this timeline here, apparently. Oh my god, the batteries are dead on it. I plugged in. Okay, so I plugged in. Start beginning of the story. I already told half the story. My table is a standing table, so it goes up and down on its own. I can. There we go. So I have a table that can move, and I was telling it to go down at the end of something. Oh my gosh. I am not good enough for this right now. We are going to go to somewhere easier. This is what you do. And when it tries to go one direction and it can't go that direction, it goes the other direction a little bit more to like alleviate, like so it thinks it's hit something. So it thought it was trying to go down, and it's just like there's two legs that don't go down evenly always, and so it thinks it's hit something, and it just starts to go up, and it goes up more than it goes down in that situation. And my ceiling is quite low. The palm of my hand is fully flat on my ceiling right now. My elbow's still bent. Like, that's how low my ceiling is here. And so my table, there's a ring light around my camera right in front of me here, and my table tried to successfully actually ram that light into my ceiling, and broke it apart and broke apart my camera and everything. And so I had to order a new one really quickly, and the one I ordered uses the same type of connector as my charging dock for my controller, which I didn't realize I had unplugged fully, and it is sitting on the tiniest bit of battery life. And I think that's why it's not working. Really overly long explanation for something that doesn't matter at all. You're welcome. But I like to joke that this was the first instance I've seen of robot on robot violence. Table just had to destroy the light. Independent robot on robot violence. Mind of its own. All right, more questions about the game, which is why we're here for. How do you feel about uniques being widely used across every class when the main identity of the item was planned for a specific skill, like Phantom Grip being for forged weapons but used by everyone because base crit? It usually says to me that the power distribution of the item is off, and it needs a bit of a redistribution of that power, probably to like be where we want it to be in an ideal world. But at the same time, like, I mean, it's not a terrible thing, especially if the class that it is designed for, that is getting the most power out of it, is still the one it's designed for.
Save me.
Yeah, okay. Like, what? I thought it said we were done. Why is this the button?
Worthless, anyway.
Yeah, do we have any more forging potential that we can use on some of these things? We do not care about mana. Let's roll that away. Melee damage leeches health. Yes, please. Int. Yes, please. It's a good day. Necrotic damage, yes. Health, yes. Necrotic damage. We're just firing on all cylinders here. That's exactly what I want to see. Intelligence. Yeah, let's go straight intelligence. Oh, 65 for that. It's fine. Helmet. Fizz res. Our fizz res is pretty over. Is our fizz res still over without that? No, we are using that to cap. We do have 2 more idle slots. I could probably finish it, considering rolling it away. Nah, let's just upgrade it. We'll get rid of somewhere else. Poison damage. We do. I want to see something else here. Fizz pen. Nah. And then this piece of garbage. Okay, cold damage. Increased cold damage. That is not what we want. Melee cold damage. That's better. Not saying much. Okay, now do we have 2 more little bits? But I don't know. We don't want that. Let's just. And then we got exalt or experimental. Nothing. Okay, we're just gonna crack some skulls. Alright. Idols. What do we even want out of our idols right now? Gotta fix our build. That looks pretty sweet. We just need you know what? I was getting messed up by stuns. Is fire res the thing we're missing? Yeah. Finish off our fire res. Okay. Our resistances are capped, overcapped. A little bit of stun avoidance extra. Some more int. Some more damage, some better damage. Some more health. Okay, more questions. Mike, get back in the question chain. Slamming items. Have you maybe thought of the idea of if you're doing T1 jewel, you get 1 slam, T2 you get slam, 2 slams, etc. T4 gives you access to 4 slams. I kind of like to save up several slams and just do them, but it feels annoying to spend like 1 hour just slamming items. Yeah, so I think the primary issue we're looking at here is the time you spend. So you're like I'm gonna go do start slamming items, and then you're like you do the action required to get to the place where you can do it. You prepped it. You get to the spot where you can kill him. You only get 1 use, and you gotta go back out and do the whole dungeon again. Now the dungeons, the process of going through the dungeons right now is a weak point of that process. That's the just the fun you have in that process. That's the worst part for sure, for almost everyone, I think. And so when we look at that problem, our first thought is so the part of that process kind of isn't very much fun. How do we make that part of the process fun? That's kind of where we're trying to get at it from. So we're looking at just improving the dungeon process in general. Because we also want to add more dungeons. So we want you to spend more time doing things in dungeons. But dungeons are not awesome right now. We want to make dungeons awesome. We want to make it be like, all right, I need to go do this sweet dungeon. It's going to be fun. I think there's also room for the big balancing factor on one upgrade per run is less about the time investment that we want to have associated with it and more about the item investment that we want to have associated with it. So 1 key equals 1 use is more the relationship we want rather than 1 dungeon completion, 1 use. So we are looking at ways of improving the dungeon system in general, also ways of improving individual dungeons based on their rewards and things like that. All right. Bit of a debate about A-bomb. I do agree that A-bomb is clunky at the moment. And we do have... there was a great thread last week and this week as well about internally that we were talking about A-bomb with to give it a little bit of a glow up. I think it's gonna be nice. It's a little on the outside of the list though, unfortunately. So might be a while before we see something there. But we are looking at it. All right. Are you going to extend the events? No, the event will not be extended. The event will end when we said it was going to end. There's a patch that will happen when the event ends. And there's some stuff happening in the patch, but I don't have any details on what's exactly happening there yet. That'll come with patch notes probably. Like it usually does. Call it a hotfix, not a patch. Sorry. Fine. Alright, so much going on right now. It is just chaos. Did I get that? Oh, yes. Attack everything for me. Let's go. Next one, quick. Gonna run out. I love the new shrines. This is like one of my favorite things we added this this cycle was the new shrines. Just so good. I haven't seen many nemesis. That's weird. Ooh, okay, we got an egg. Okay. What are we gonna slap in here? I don't really have anything that's super amazing. This is an option. Just because it's really nice to have. Phantom Grip's an option. As always, that crit chance, right? That won't work. Do I care about any of these for this build right now? Not really. This is a fun one to do just in general. Yeah, we're just gonna put the ring in. Okay, next. Have you considered lowering the DPS of exiled mages because they are not fun at the moment because they zap across the screen and then suddenly boom, you're dead? I mean, we're always looking at the general balance of the game. If there's a specific thing you'd like us to look at, please put it in the suggestions or feedback channels. You know, like I don't have details on specific upcoming balance changes, but we are always looking at the general balance of the game and the difficulty of various mechanics and all these sorts of things. I'd probably agree that there's a risk-reward imbalance in most situations with the exiled mages. Now, like if exiled mages dropped 3 experimental items instead of 1, and they had double chance to drop their crafting materials and things like that, like I doubt we'd be having the same conversation, because I think it would just be like the reward's so awesome that, you know, you go for it no matter what type thing. So it's not necessarily just about the damage they deal. If you'd like little interesting information that you might be able to use to your advantage, they are hostile to other enemies in the scene as well. So you can actually get a nemesis to fight an exiled mage if you want. It's fun to do. What about making the white items that drop having higher fortune potential? Would it be problematic as well? It's possible. There's the highest possible, other than nemesis, the highest possible way to drop an item. The highest possible fortune potential to drop on an item for a very long time was on white items. And we basically got the feedback that people didn't really like that. So we, I think, turned it off. I know it wasn't a super popular thing. Most of these people were like, now I have to filter, I have to leave white items on my filter if I want it in max. This is terrible, because we didn't let people filter by fortune potential. All sorts of stuff there. Love it. Come on. Come on. Don't make me use my abilities. Ugh. Alright. Drop set items as a mid-cycle event for Christmas. That'd be cool. No. Nowhere near enough time. Is there any reason there isn't much minion throwing scaling on gear despite there being minions on Acolyte and now Rogue that have throwing skills? Yeah, I mean, I think it's like you say, it's and now Rogue, so it's pretty early. And the one it's pretty fresh on like what actually has it. And also there's not a lot, but then on top of that, the ones that are on Rogue, I believe mostly scale off your own stats and less on trying to get minion throwing stats specifically. What were those? Not what I thought they were. Still cool. Good chunk of health. More stuff. Have you considered adding another slot at any point? Yeah, we've considered adding more slots. I don't think it's something we're really chomping at the bit for right now. But it's been suggested. I mean, it's kind of hard, like, if you ask questions, is have you considered? Almost always the answer is yes. There's so many things that we just like, because everyone on the team's encouraged to just like, if you have a random thing that you're like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, just post it. And like, we have internal suggestion forum threads and things like that. So it's, you know, there's a lot of random things we've talked about doing and never done. Alright. More questions. Oh my god, this is... I'm an hour behind right now. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. Okay, I gotta go faster on the questions. I've been rambling too much. Greetings. In party play, would it be possible to show us the buffs and auras that are active on party members and minions, i.e. holy aura? Thank you. Not really. Sorry. There's some problems. Slap in the suggestions thread if you want to see it, but right now we'd have to make some pretty big changes to make it happen. Something in my eye is really bothering me. Has the person who came up with the void squirrels received an appropriate compensation, and can we make them into an item? I would assume so. As far as making them into an item, I don't know. It's always possible. Can we do the affixes? Why do the affixes go into the bag and then need to be transferred into another place? Couldn't this be done automatically? It is possible to do it automatically. We've long held that when you pick up an item, it goes in your inventory. Simple as that. All right. There's a node that makes reap, not put transplant, go on cooldown. I don't think I have that though. Because when I reap, transplant goes on cooldown, I think. But you're right, I might just increase fizz damage. I mean, not ideal, but not terrible. You get this different roll, but the same thing. That's funny. And the helmet's got some potential to do something kind of okay. Yeah, reaps. There, I reap and it puts transplant on cooldown. It's just the initial Reaper form doesn't put transplant on cooldown right now. Which makes sense. Because Reaper form is not a movement ability, but Reap is. COF needs a gold perk. Inventory space requires a lot of money. Yeah, I think that having... if this is in reference to the temporary gold buffs that are in right now, yeah, I think so. I agree that COF needs a better avenue for unlocking gold related things like your stash tabs. Yeah, that's the right way to say that. By the way, Mike, I've got a really important question. What are void corrupted beings in Eterra doing with gold they're carrying with them? They probably had it before they were corrupted and don't just really remember what it is. And it's sort of like, it's one of those things of like, you know, like sometimes you see in like zombie movies, there's like a zombie that's like still trying to drive a car, but just like can't do it. They're just like turning a steering wheel. Oh my god, yes. Warpath. Warpath Reaper. Bone Curse Warpath's the best thing ever. Oh, that's great. These new shrines are my jam. A nice strawberry. All right. Next question. Was that an unintentional hint that Barbarian will be the primalist mastery in the future? Or am I grasping at straws? You're grasping at straws. That is a description of the community's current expectations. That's all. Sorry. Seems like you have to have people with maths PhD in game development. Is there a particular person who deals with all the maths in the game? There are a few people on our team that are unbelievably good at math. I consider myself like very good at math. Like I remember in like late high school, I would frequently be like, how can I stay above 100% in my math class here? So I thought I was really good at math. And then you meet someone who's actually really good at math and you're like, oh my god. So yeah, there's a few people on the team that are incredible at math that I wish I could hang with, but sadly just have to pretend. If anyone out there is considering getting a computer science degree, just know that it's actually secretly a math degree in disguise. All right. Where is penetration? Penetration effectively counts as a more multiplier. Penetration comes in, so when we were talking about that giant, I probably should have taken questions while I was doing that. So this is in the damage calculation function. What I showed was the outgoing damage, and then penetration is applied at the defense step. So when it goes to say like, when the mob or whatever says like, okay, well now I'm going to apply my defense of 50% poison resist. Let's not do poison because we were doing a hit effectively. So let's say I've got my I've got 50% physical resistance, and so it's gonna only do half damage because it's physical damage we're talking about. Let's just pretend. Penetration says, then say you've got 50% penetration. It says, okay, well, you had 50% resistances, but because I have 50% penetration, your resistances only count for half of what they would normally, so it only reduces the damage by 25% instead of 50%. So it effectively acts as a more multiplier for damage, because it's multiplicative with everything else. Don't know if this has been asked earlier, but do you plan to add loot filter rules on roll ranges within a tier? Let's say on idols, which is the quintessential example for this question, so I can hide all idols rolls under 80% potential. there's some issues with getting roll ranges into the loot filter, not just from a design perspective, but from a development perspective and performance, that we are trying to work through still. Like, almost to the point where it might be easier to give tiers to the affixes on idols. That's basically the same thing. We're not planning on doing that, just for the record, but it is. I do understand your concern. We would like to fix it. Where is it? What's this thing? Yes. Good. Gotta find enemies now. Purple. Hello, purple boy. Oh, yes. Wonderful. Idols. Uh-oh. You're wild. Okay, got only a few that are really worth looking at. It's so great. I can just like hang out. It just takes care of everything for me. Ding. Oh, we got our level up. That's what I like to see. Come over here. More int. More idols. We got all sorts of cool stuff. Let's drop the kids off. I do love having things set up nicely. Experimental. And not bad, actually. Won't be able to turn them into something amazing, but, you know. Alright, let's get to that beacon. Paint was 10 out of 10. Now can you share how penetration works? Example, does the 100th point of penetration bring as much damage as the first? Is there any point beyond which it makes sense to stack more penetration? If the enemy has 0 resistances, each point in penetration, which almost, unless the enemy, so yeah. If the enemy has 0 resistances, each point in penetration brings the same amount of damage. Because it's just effectively a more multiplier at that point. But enemies that have resistance to that type, penetration is more effective the earlier points you have in it. So the first percentage point of penetration is more effective than the 100th percentage point of penetration. And it keeps stacking into negative. That's totally fine. If an enemy does have resistance to that type, it will say under its name. So it will actively say under the health bar if it has resistance to that type. It'll say like the scorpions, it says right on them, resist fire damage. Otherwise, it's all 0 across the board. Yeah, acid flasks. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Perfect. All right, more questions. Hey Mike, hope you and the EHG team are doing well. I'm sure you've seen that Unity 6 is here now. Are there any features in particular from the newer Unity versions the team would be excited to start using? Well, we just internally updated to the new version, or a newer version of Unity. We jumped ahead a couple years in Unity's version cycle, and specifically to get DLSS and FSR and a few other things in. So yeah, there's some things in newer versions that do appeal to us. A full jump to Unity 6, which I find so funny that they've gone back to their old number scheme. Because if you don't know, Unity used to be like Unity 3, Unity 4, Unity 5, and then it went Unity, I think 2017. I think that's when they went to like the year numbering, and we had like 2017, 2018, 2019, 20, 21, 22, 23. 24 I think we even got to, and now they're going back to 6 instead of 25. I don't know what's in a number, doesn't really matter. And Yeah, I haven't looked at the notes for 6 yet because I know we can't update all the way to it right now. We're kind of going as far as we can at the moment. I think there's room for it in the future to go higher. But this jump, we're not going any higher than we're going to 2021 now, which we're on 21 internally and have been for almost a month now. Not quite. I think the next patch. The hotfix that's coming out at the end of the cycle will be our last, I think, unless there's a major problem, will be the last 2019 patch that we do. I was super excited about the UI settings being added, but I really wanted to shrink the UI or be able to move it around the screen. Any chance you'll add smaller UI, please, please, please? Maybe. It's not impossible. One of the main reasons we were adding it was for people who wanted bigger UI. That was the main request we were getting. But physically moving it is a whole different question. So if you want smaller, I would make that suggestion separate from smaller and move, because and move is smaller is changing the range on what that slider is in the settings menu and doing a bunch of testing to make sure it works fine. Being able to move it is months of work. Should have used something to get that down faster. Oh, did I trigger it and then it went away? I did trigger it. Thought I didn't trigger it yet. It's okay. Lost the lizard. Is there a reason why the dev chat streams aren't uploaded to YouTube anymore? It's nice to be able to watch them if you miss them. I was unaware they were not being uploaded anymore. I swear I saw one like just a couple weeks ago. They should be. They really should be. I think that's an important thing to have eternalized. I really hope we have them saved if we don't have them up, because I know they only survive on our Twitch page for 2 weeks. Okay. Come on, Mark. Eat it. Oh, come on. Hold it. There we go. All right, more questions. Got to catch up. Monsters with unique modifiers in the future that the player can steal for duration. Yeah. You know the problem with that. Maybe. It would have to be like there's specific types of like certain properties of monsters, like things that deal fire damage, or things that like have a bow, or things like that, like properties of them specific to it, where you got specific things from them, where it says like the ability dictates what you're going to get from specific like classes of enemies, maybe. But if it's like, oh, this one rampages it becomes rampant at half health, and if you kill it you get that ability, something like that. Yeah. People talking about monk classes. Yeah, monk's another one of the front runners for community ideas on suspicious missing class archetypes. Do so much damage when I've got Death Seal up. I don't know why I don't use it more. Mike, is there any news on if/when we will get a merch store? There's no news yet. I like want it so bad that I'll say it's a when question, not an if question. Mike, did you lose weight? I did. Thanks for asking. It's like 4 or 5 weeks in a row people asking that. I love it. I lost a bunch of weight. Down 33 kilograms now. All right, next question. Controller is great. I look forward to playing exclusively on controller next week. Wonderful. My controller's just being a jerk. I use it for testing and not for playing that much, so. I do love that controller. One of the things the game needs is a meaningful progression system beyond level 76 when you get all of our skill tree points. Is that what skill sigils are? Please explain in length. I will not be explaining what skill sigils are at length. I apologize. But I do agree that there is a this is part of what Factions was meant to be. Was this later game progression system, and I think we made it too good, if that makes any sense. So the late game progression system being focused around acquiring new items and new power instead of being the source of the new power caused them to be something that's like, well, if you don't have it, you're wasting your time. So it's something that everyone should have. So it's something that you began to expect having at as high a level as possible. And it's not a progression system anymore. It's a completion system. Or there's got to be a better term for that, but I'm just making it up now. So it's like, instead of it being a, hey, I'm working down my my factions path, it's that, oh, I haven't finished my factions path yet. And that language difference, I think, is the big reason why it doesn't get viewed of as a late game progression system, because it is hitting all the right notes for a late game progression system, but it's not delivering on that from a player perception standpoint. So it's a problem, and we are looking for other things to take that role. Are the other devs jelly of you doing these streams? I think there's a couple that would like to get in on it from time to time, and I'm happy to share. There's a couple that I've asked to come on as guests at least, and I've offered to let people like take over for a day or two here and there type thing. But I think most, and I could be wrong with this, if any of you are watching and do want to do it, that are on the dev team, I'm happy to share. I like Ubisoft. Part of it is that there's like a significant amount of setup time involved in getting a stream ready, like and also like all the security keys and all that sort of stuff, and like the licenses for various things that you'd have to like buy temporary versions of to like do the multi-casting stuff, and like there's a few weird things that just getting someone to set up the whole system for one day of streaming is kind of a lot. So the times we have had other people do it, it's been people who are already set up for streaming on their own anyways. Which is why we generally err on the side of getting guests on instead of a wholesale new host. But if anyone on the dev team's watching and you're really interested in hosting, I'm happy to share. Today actually would have been a great day. I walked in my door like 8 minutes before the stream started. Does the affix man also whenever I'm having my dev stream, that's the exact same time that we have our group playtest time, where everyone is it's blocked off to just play Last Epoch together, so I miss that every time. So I don't know if they're that jelly. Alright, does the affix mana spent gained as ward work when proccing skills like Meteor, Belt, or Spellblade know that procs Frostclaw? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's just when you actually activate an ability. I don't know, it might though. Is it just all mana? I'd have to look that up. I'm sorry, I don't have it on hand. Oh, someone said afterwards that it is right. Yeah, okay, apparently it does. So many of these little mechanics that I have to just look up. Let's go right here first. I do love how mobile this build is. I've got so many options for movement. I've got transplant, I've got reap, and I've got just dodge or evade. Sorry. Crushing it. Okay. More questions, because I gotta catch up. When will we get cosmetics from the event? Shortly after the event. I expect very shortly after the event. I'm kind of hoping in the patch that we turn the event off in with. Will we get MTX for the HUD in the future? This is an interesting question. This is a really interesting question. It's something we've talked about a few times, and we've steered clear of it. It's one of those things that comes back on the table every once in a while. We're like, is it time to do that? No, maybe. There's all sorts of reasons why it's not a good idea type thing. I'd like to get more HUD customization in general. And I think we're getting close to being able to put that into practice, but it's still a little ways off, I think. Just slip right out. The portal to come here to the Echo world from the monolith, it actually exists before it is visibly there. And so you can just like hit T and click just slightly above your character and you'll just go in instantly. I'm assuming most of you already noticed that, but is there any use for lizard tails that can drop from the lizards? I have no idea what you're talking about. Or hint for future content, I guess, maybe? Or just novelty. Grasping here for something Last Epoch is amazing and just want more. Thank you very much. I don't know, that doesn't look like anything to me. I'm sorry. Hello, Mike. Has the team... speaking of lizards, hello, Mike. Has the team or your perception of technically possible level of RNG changed now that the player base has been a bit more vocal about it? High LP rare items feeling stressful, etc. Thank you. I don't think so. I keep like kind of floating what my thoughts are on it. Every time I do, people are like, that's a terrible idea, Mike. I'm like, okay, the community speaks out pretty negatively about what I say about it, and so I'm like, I kind of just keep my mouth shut a little bit when it comes to it. I think it is necessary to have a pretty significant like chance. I think that if the chance, how do I say this? The chance of getting a 4 LP high tier, let's say high LPL, so a unique item with a high legendary potential level, which is the effective level of the item uses to roll for legendary potential power. Certain items that are low level have high legendary potential level because they scale really well into the end game. Big example of this is prism wraps, the chest plate. So that out of the way, LPL, legendary potential level. Items that have high LPL having a very, very dramatically different chance of having 4 LP than a low LPL item, I think is really necessary. Now, does having something be technically possible but effectively impossible hurt the hurt the game in general? I think it might. I think I love the idea. I think it's gonna hurt different players' perspectives of the game differently depending on how they feel about that type of mechanic. And I think that having that one mythical item show up, like that time that someone drops, and I know this is probably never gonna happen because the chance is so unbelievably low, but like a 4 LP red ring drops and it like shows up on the market or something like that, or it shows up on a screenshot in Reddit or something, and it's like confirmed real and everyone just freaks out. It's amazing, is great. I think we might not be. I think the main part of the problem is the communication and how those odds work. and getting players' expectations to align with those odds, I think would be the ideal solution. I don't know if that's possible, and I think having those items be existing in the game might be causing more trouble than they're worth. But every time I suggest that last part in a more explicit way, people are not very happy about it. Because usually when this gets brought up, it's because people want to have access to those things, not want to have them be taken away completely. So it's a very difficult balancing act. I think overall, the Legendary Potential system is a huge bonus to the itemization system in general. I fumbled through those words. And I think that without... I think removing it for the sake of fixing this perception issue for like a relatively small percentage of the player base is probably not a good idea overall. But there is probably a solution that would help improve it for everyone. And I don't know what that is right now. But I'm very interested in it. I hope that answered your question. I know I kind of rambled and fumbled a bunch, but like if there was some function by which LPL translated into max LP as well. I think it might not be the worst thing in the world. This thing has an absurd amount of health. Absurd. I clicked too soon. Ruining it with my own advice. It's okay. Because we got a unique node and we're past the line, and that's okay. We're gonna do this, we're gonna fight the boss, and I think that's gonna be a stream, but I'm gonna try and answer as many as I possibly can first. Storing shards from your inventory takes a long time with a controller anyway. Could get a hotkey. Maybe the problem. This is another one of those problems of like doing the thing on controller kind of is not great for the game as a whole, because suddenly you have like doing that turns on auto storage for desktop, because you just have a macro that opens your inventory, hits the auto transfer button, closes your inventory, and then suddenly you have and you put that on a little dipper bird that just every once in a while it dips down on your controller and hits the button, and your inventory flashes for a split second and it just does it, you know, or a button on your mouse that just does it, and it's like you've just taken away that thing. So it's maybe, but we'd put like I think we would just take this button away and put auto storage first before doing that, because it's just taking this button away and doing auto storage with extra steps. If that makes any sense. Alright, more questions. When will there be more actual wings? My wallet is burning. I don't know. I know that there have been some... There's some cool new MTX I've seen in the pipe, which I'm pretty excited for. Can't really talk about them yet, but I think they'll be good. Health, I'll take it. Ring, give me that ring. Sealing my health while not in Reaper form. Super good idea. Wait, no, it's not. What do I get? What do I get? What do I get? What do I get? I mean, terrible for us, but cool item. All right, way off topic. Are you a Warhammer fan in any way? I do enjoy the Warhammer universe. I love the. I've never played Warhammer at all. I don't have the patience for painting the minis. As you can see, my Chronomer model that I made is still completely unpainted. So I don't have patience for painting it, that sort of stuff, but I do love some of the lore stuff they have in there. I've played some of the I played this is an RTS, a 40k RTS that I played that I liked quite a bit. Squad-based combat, I don't remember the name of it, sorry. It was a while ago. We used to play it at LAN parties. So much fun. Anyways, the like idea that like the orcs are magic, but, and I'm gonna butcher this, so I apologize to everyone who likes Warhammer. Sorry, because I don't know the details, but like the way that they make things go, like do things, is by their belief in it working makes it work, because they're magic inherently or something. So they're like, and you can affect things by actually painting your minis different ways to do it. I think it's so cool. So like the, this is just a complete ignorant view of outside of how this works. But like if you paint a orc vehicle red, it goes faster because red goes faster, and like it actually gets an in-game mechanical movement boost. And I like that concept is just so cool to me. I love it. That's my favorite part about Warhammer. And if I got that confused on which IP it was, I apologize. Whatever thing it is, I love that. I think it's Warhammer though. Hello, great to catch the stream. Glad to have you. I wanted to ask, maybe you can point on what should a 3D artist focus on to land a job / contract in isometric ARPG. I would say just like building assets. Like if there's a specific game you're going after, like just have some finished assets that are like ready to go that you think would slot in nicely, and like take like screenshots from the game and like splice the assets you've made into them or something like that. I think that would be the way I would do it, where you can like be like, look how good the stuff I make fits in your game. Like that's where I would. I don't do. I'll warn you, pound of salt here with this advice, because I do not do any of the art hiring stuff at all. I only do interview process for developer positions. So and probably design positions too, but I haven't done any of those in a long time. And so yeah, just that's what I would look for is like an example of stuff that fit really well in that specific game. I don't know how long it takes you to make stuff, so like making too much for each specific game you were trying to get a job at is probably not great. It'd take a long time for not a lot, but you know, it builds a portfolio in general. And then secondly, I would say just play whatever game it is you're hoping to get on board with a bunch, so you're really familiar with it. If there's a specific studio that makes a specific game that you're trying to get hired with, like if you're trying to get hired with Last Epoch, you know, play Last Epoch. When we're sitting in an interview and someone has an example based on the actual gameplay, it hits, and they like clearly have played the game a bunch. It like, you still need all the other background stuff that goes with it, but when the example is connected and grounded to the game we're making right now, it's so much easier to follow, and it's so much easier to relate to. And you know, it also just like there's an element of like, hey, it feels good to know that the person you're talking to has been playing the game you've been working on. So yeah, I think those would be the two main things I would suggest. Even when we're doing interviews and like I'll get someone's resume ahead of time and they're like, oh, I worked on this game and that game, I'll like go into Steam and be like, do I have any of these games? Can I download one of them cheap? Can like, you know, buy it really quick and try it out and see where they're coming from, like to get that other perspective too. I think it's quite useful information. All right. If you were to bet everything on red or everything red or black, red for sure. Red's my favorite color. It's just in general. So I'd pick red. That's a big bonk. That's a big bonk. We're at time. We're gonna finish the boss. We're going for the boss. We're gonna go overtime. We're gonna go for the boss. I'm gonna try and answer more questions. I know I'm super far behind. I really apologize. Gatorade or water? Water every single time. All right. Why not allow one character to pass its prophecies to another, or a way to have prophecies refunded? I don't know a good answer off the top of my head. I think it's probably, nah, it doesn't really matter that much. I think refunded is the problem because you get, I've got it. Refunding it is a problem because you get the progress in your reputation when you spend the favor, which is when you purchase them. So you can't refund them. Moving them to another character is an issue because you can, if you transfer the character game modes, then you're effectively transferring favor through game modes. That's the problem. That's why. Got it. I got it. I knew there's a reason. All right. Will the crafting mats ever be picked up and go directly to the crafting mat vault instead of the 2-click system? I think we covered this quite a bit in the stream. I think I'm really far behind, so I'm going to say maybe we don't currently have plans for it. It's possible. Displaying total LP possible would be huge. For example, Prism Wraps being able to be like 2 of 2 LP, while something is like Kestrel shows up as 1 of 4 LP, so new players know there is a huge realistic, got it, realistic room to grow. Got it. I can read, it's spelled wrong, I swear. It looked like with the G on the, like realizing, and I'm like getting caught up. Okay, so that's what I'm getting at, but it's the like, I mean, that one time that it drops and it's that gigantic, oh my god, it dropped, I can't believe it dropped moment. Like that's pretty unreal to have happen, and taking that away sucks. So, I don't know. We'll see. Like, I look back at other games, and I'm like, how many people have played 1,000, 2,000 hours of Diablo 2 and have never seen a Burr rune drop? You know, like, it's probably a pretty good chunk. And I don't know. It's a tricky thing to balance, right? There's free trade there, so it's a little less of it, and there's all yeah. I know it's not a direct one-to-one comparison. All right, any news on MTX for offline players? I think is what the question is, not online players. I don't, sorry. So auto storage when? No info. I assume you know that. Oh my god, I caught up. Ho ho ho. It was the front-loaded question dump that put me behind, but I battled back. You know, I just took it one step at a time. We made sure we had we stuck to our game plan. This is my like my sports intermission speech. I think we just really got to stay in our own head and like not let them suck us into their game plan. We've got to play our own, stick to our own plan here, and really focus on what makes us succeed. I double tap that every time because I'm like, just press it. Can I say this? I think I can. So should I do this? Oh my goodness. We're doing it. Phase 2. Fight. Come on. Oh, it was on cooldown. I would love to have a single, be able to pick one ability to like display just a little dot beside my face, so beside my name, on the center of the screen that just shows like when it's on cooldown, when it's off, when I have a charge, like just a single dot beside my name. It just says how many charges of just one ability I've picked. Because most of my builds I find I have one ability that like I need to know when it's off cooldown. And I'd love to have just a little dot right there. Just one little dot right there. That's what I want. I know it's selfish, right?
The Lance's power is exhilarating.
Come on.
I will burn brighter than riot himself.
Okay, here we go. That leeches a ton. Oh, no. Okay, we're fine.
This Lance will make no. You're just a human.
That's what I'm talking about.
I was supposed
Body armor, boots, body armor? I think body armor. Whew. We did good today on boss fights. Yeah, we did good today on boss fights. We had 2 of them. Oh, all right. I've never dropped a Zod in a billion hours of D2. I've dropped so many Zods. I don't know how. I've dropped more Zods than Jaws. I don't know why, but it's definitely happened. Ugh. Controller next week? I'll try and get the controller ready for next week, sure. I assume you want me to play controller next week, so that question is, how difficult would you say it is would be for a solo dev to make an ARPG? Or more specifically, what would be the most difficult / expensive part? The art is a gigantic, mega colossal amount of work. Like our team is quite sizable compared to our design or development teams. Like art is a huge department for us, relative to the other departments. So that like you'd have to buy art assets, which there's so many assets out there right now. Like if you're doing a solo project, that's not the end of the world, I think. And if you're doing online, if you're doing multiplayer, like you've got to know how to do. You have to be a full stack network developer, back-end engineer, all in one. Like you got to know all of that stuff yourself if you're gonna do it, because it is a ton of work. And the hardest part in making it actually function nicely. So if you're doing an online one, that part. Second would be art. Yeah. Any talks for visual toggle on off system? I'm a minority, but visually impaired guys like that could use that. Any talks for a visual toggle on off system? Sorry, I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. Flesh that out more and put in a suggestion thing, and we've got like a suggestions channel. But yeah, we are looking at more accessibility options. For like there's all sorts of axes on that we're looking at. So like controller, I'd argue in some situations that's accessibility option, like colorblindness, stuff like that. All sorts of things like that. We're definitely starting to ramp up the progress on a lot of those. I think that'll just about do it. All right. I had a great time. I hope you did too. I'll be back same time, same place next week. If you had a question that I did not answer, I apologize. It was not intentional, but I'll be happy to answer it if you head on over to our Ask the Devs channel in our Discord. What else? That's about it. Hope you have a great day. Hope you drink lots of water. Let's go say hi to someone. Let's see if Aaron's doing Last Epoch right now. I'll go over there. Yeah, he is. Aaron's been doing a subathon for a very significant amount of time. Let's go check it out. Yeah. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. See you next week.